Hello, listeners, and welcome to another episode of eCom Pulse. In today's episode, I interviewed Dr. Liraz Margalit, a renowned psychologist and the founder of Topicx. Dr. Margalit specializes in decision-making processes, behavioral economics, and neuropsychology. With a deep understanding of how people make decisions, she has applied her expertise in both consumer behavior and self-improvement. During the episode, Liraz shares fascinating research into the intersection of cognitive psychology and behavioral design, discussing how our brains shape decisions, the impact of emotional triggers on purchasing behavior, and the significance of understanding consumer motivations. We also discuss the importance of storytelling in marketing and how businesses can establish trust and connect with their audience on an emotional level. Additionally, Liraz provides examples from her extensive research highlighting the difference in consumer behavior and decision-making in both physical and digital environments. Tune in to learn about the practical applications of behavioral design, the role of emotional intelligence in consumer interactions, and how brands can create compelling narratives to engage their customers effectively. Let's get started. Welcome to the eCom Pulse, your heartbeat to the world of e-commerce. I'm your host, Eitan Kotter. Join us as we meet with industry leaders, marketing experts, and the innovative minds behind the tech that is shaping the e-commerce future. So plug in, gear up, and get ready for a pulse-pounding journey into the heart of e-commerce. Hey Liraz, how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you. How are you, Eitan?
Wow, I feel really good, and I'm really excited about this episode because we're going to discuss some really interesting topics, right? Or about many behavioral, economics perspectives, the social aspect of things. And Liraz, so maybe we can just, I think, use this opportunity for you to share more about yourself and on your background. I know you're very famous here. You also build a personal brand around all the things that you do. So we'd love to for our audience to know you better. So let's start with a quick introduction.
Great. So first, I have to tell you that I think I have the best work in the world. So this is a fun fact.
It's a good start. Yeah.
I'm a psychologist. I have a PhD in psychology. I'm specialized in decision-making processes and cognition. Over the past few years, I've been utilizing models from cognitive psychology, behavioral economics, and neuropsychology to better understand how people make decisions, how consumers make decisions, how users make decisions, not only purchasing decisions, but decisions in general. And if I need to focus of what is my specialty, so it is designing people's mind, but actually it sounds a bit manipulative, which it is. However, we can use this manipulation in different ways. So of course we can use behavioral design in order to shape people's behavior to stop smoking or to eat better or to think positive thoughts. Or you can use it to make them play more video games or gamble more. So it really depends on where you take it. And recently, I actually continue doing shaping people's behavior for different reasons. But there is one more thing that I start engaging with, and this is designing our own mind. So I started giving courses of how you can design your own mind. And there is a concept that is called growth mindset, how you can think differently. And I think this is a very important and significant distinction that I made recently. And this is that when you think about your life, it's not the stressors that make you feel bad, it's how you become attached to this stressor. So I think that if you can shape your mind differently, you will definitely have a better, more satisfying life.
Yeah. I mean, there are so many things, right? I mean, like the neuroscience part of it is obviously very, very relevant, and how people are using their brain and how neuroplasticity works and how people can adapt, right? Brain is like a muscle.
Right. And
But
the correlation between minds and body, that
yeah,
we always knew it. I mean, the Buddhism already knew it, but today we have the technology that actually proves it.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, we are, every thought has an impact on our physical body in some way, right? Also emotion. So it's like a combination of thoughts, emotion, the physical state, spiritual state, mental state. And you took it to a very interesting, specific area. And I wanted to ask you why you're so passionate about this topic. What inspired you to focus on those specific areas?
So actually, if I think about the way that I did, I wanted to become a psychologist since I was 13, I think. So I knew this is what I'm going to do. But at the beginning, I was sure I'm going to be a psychotherapist. And I have this image of my clinic and of the plant and of the couch, and everything was fixed in my mind. And after I started psychotherapy and I started treating people, I understood that it is not for me. So I'm not the kind of person who could actually listen carefully. I have to tell people what to do. And then I got this amazing proposal from, and this was my actually my bridge to the tech world. So as I was treating people, I got this proposal from an Israeli startup company. This company was acquired by now, but back then it was an amazing opportunity. And they, what they did is that they have developed a platform. It was a SaaS company.
Mm-hmm.
And when a user enters a website, they were able to detect the user's interaction from the moment they enter the website till the moment they leave the website, and mainly behavioral analytics. And for me, it was I was exposed to a whole new world, because this world was untouched by the academia, because it was, if you think about it, a different way, a different tool to explore users' behavior. And the amazing thing is that you didn't need to bring them to the lab and manipulate them. You could actually look at them in real time. So, of course, I'm sure you think about the ethical issues, and there are ethical issues, but back then I had this all new world of understanding how women behave different from men, and users who came first to the website behave differently from users who have been in this website 5 times. So it was an amazing opportunity. And after I was there like for 5 years, and eventually I got a group of data scientists, and I was able to develop this model. Back then I called it mindset. And the idea was that the minute a user enters a website, we were able to detect its mindset, if it was focused, if it was goal-oriented, if it was disoriented, if he came just to browse or to explore. So actually we're able to define these behavioral patterns with different models, with different algorithms. And then the holy grail was to change the website according to the user's specific mindset. So that actually, this was my first experience in the tech world. And the amazing thing was that I was able to combine my models, the behavioral models, the cognitive models, with actual users' behavior. And back then I was calling myself a web psychologist.
Okay.
So this what brought me to the tech world.
Nice. So what about this company? So you say it got acquired, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
by a French company called Content Square. Yeah.
Content Square. Nice. So can you share with us a little bit about these models around behavioral, design and decision making?
Sure. So behavioral design, it is actually practical models that is drawn out of behavioral economics. Mainly behavioral economics is the theoretical models, and behavioral design is how you can bring it into practice. And the idea, and back then, Kahneman and Tversky were talking about our biases. And Kahneman then talked about us having two different systems. System one is
One system two. Yeah.
right. So system one is the emotional system. It is the automatic system. It doesn't require cognitive resources. And as a matter of fact, 80% of our time we use this emotional biased system. And only 20% of the time we use our rational system. And the reason that we don't like to use a rational system it is because it requires lots of cognitive effort. So while you use your rational system or system 2, you cannot be involved in any other task at the same time. So when we're talking about, to your question, when we're talking about behavioral design, is how you can shape people's behavior if you know how people think, if you know their cognitive biases. Let me give you an example. You know that it's not so common in Israel, but in the state, if you have vending machine like Coca-Cola, right next to it you have a Pepsi vending machine. And people were wondering, why this company decided, because this is a decision, this is an economical decision, why they decided to place these vending machines together, one next to the other. And the answer is that they know how people think. And I will give you an example that demonstrates what I'm saying. Let's say that I'm entering a bagel store. I don't know. I feel like I'm hungry and I want to eat something, and I'm not sure what I feel like. And then I enter this bagel store, and in that exact moment, the seller, she have actually two different options. The first option is to ask, what do I feel like if I feel like bagel? And this is the wrong option.
Mm-hmm.
Second option is if she asks me, okay, what do you like me to put in your bagel? And this is a better option because she knows how I think, that she knows if she asks me what I feel like, I will ask myself, do I feel like bagel? But if she already skipped this decision and right away went to the what do you want in your bagel, then my options are avocado or cream cheese or whatever. This is a different question that she asked me, and this is what I'm going to answer.
Yeah.
And in the same way, if you think about cola versus Pepsi, I don't ask myself, do I feel like a Coke? I ask myself, okay, what do I feel like, cola or Pepsi?
Okay.
So they skip one decision, and of course, they have better revenue, both companies.
Interesting. So it's not a question of if, it's just now a question of selecting between the two options, right?
Exactly.
In my spare time, which is not a lot, I study brain science, and I learned also about the Kahneman models, the system 1, system 2, and it really was kind of a shock for me at the beginning. They claimed 95% are system 1 decisions, like without using, but it doesn't matter.
Open the brain and you can actually see system 1 and system 2.
Yeah.
And of course, we are talking about set of brain areas that
Yes.
it's not actually
You're not, and it's all comes from like energy preservation, right? Trying to eliminate the use of your energy, right? Not using the prefrontal cortex. It's amazing to think. It doesn't matter if it's 80% or 95%. All those decisions are made like through our instinct without even thinking about it, and then we activate our frontal cortex system to explain ourselves why we've made that decision.
Rationalized, right? We are talking about two stages decision, and it's always a two stages decision. So if you enter a supermarket, so the first thing you notice is the smell of the croissant, right?
Mm-hmm.
We figured out that in this specific moment, while you smell this bakery sense, the decision is already made. But then from that moment on, from after you already made unconsciously the decision till you are going to the bakery, there are a set of thoughts that is brought to your mind. And the sets are, okay, so I did my sports activity this week, and I didn't eat nothing else. And this all rationalization. And then when you actually bought the bakery, you feel that you made this rational decision, but this decision was already made by your senses.
Yes, and probably by the local supermarket and the shelf location and the way that they've structured everything, knowing that you already make this unconscious decision. Now let's provide you with few steps or messages just to triggers you to select this croissant or that bagel, right?
Yeah,
So
we have no idea how much the senses, because we are thinking, we try to simplify it. So we keep thinking, okay, our emotion is the subconscious part, but there is a major difference between our senses and our emotion. Our senses basically are six senses: what we smell, what we hear, what we see, how we feel in terms of temperature. However, emotion is a bit different, is how we feel, is if we are frustrated or anger or sad. So both affect our decision, but in different ways, and also our perception affects our decision. So generally, you can speak of emotional part, but if you get into the details, it's not that simple. So you have different factors, different categories of influence on how you make decisions.
Yes. I mean, you gave a great example on the retail side, let's say offline, brick and mortar type of experience. But if you take it to a digital experience, for example, an e-commerce platform, we know it is all based on impulse purchases, right? So everyone talks about impulse purchase, which is like the main vehicle of any e-commerce purchase, right? What does it mean? Can you help us understand what impulse purchase really means? Let's try to analyze this aspect and how people are taking a decision to make a purchase that they didn't even know they need, a few seconds ago.
I will explain, but I will explain by using an example that I really like. There are a branch of stores in the States, JCPenney, and those stores, they have this strategy, and people thought that this is a very narrow, selfish strategy, but it worked. And the strategy was to start off with prices, and then immediately cut the prices in half, and then people started buying. And it was their this is what they enjoyed of. I mean, they really like to search the store, and the store looked like a garage, but they liked it. And it was like a flea market with an air conditioning. And then there was a new CEO who came. I don't remember the exact year, but he decided that we are living in different times, and these are different consumers, and they're no longer interested in searching for sales or for discounts. So he decided to be honest and level with his customers, and there were no more discounts and no more sales, and they started off with lower prices to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And they were near closing all the stores until they actually brought back this strategy. And the reason is that consumers are not rational. And if we really want to empathize with our consumers, we need to understand that they are not rational and they want us to understand their needs because they don't want to spell it out. There is not one consumer who will tell you, yeah, I love the sales, I love the discount, I love the search. No. So you need to figure it out yourself and to provide the consumer what he wants. So of course he will tell you, yeah, of course, be level with me, be honest with me. No, there is what we call empathy gap. An empathy gap is the gap between what people will tell you and what really motivates their behavior. And actually, Netflix discovered this empathy gap because Netflix was asking the users what you are going to see in the weekend. And people were telling, yeah, I'm going to see documentary, I'm going to see World War II movies, of course, because they were busy in impression management. They think about what will make them look good. Unconsciously, of course, this is not as if what is going to make me feel good. They actually felt that this is what suits them. And of course, there is a weekend, and Netflix sees that all the people that were talking about World War II at the end of the day watched Emily in Paris.
Yeah.
So this is a gap that consumers need. They need us to know about. Now, back to your question about impulse purchase. So if you think about JCPenney, what is an impulse purchase? What is an impulse? Impulse is the fact that there is no wall between what I want, what I think, and the actual
Action.
behavior.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about impulse purchase, these are purchases that were not planned. We didn't plan to buy it. We don't even need it, but we see it. And then they trigger our emotional path. And when our emotional paths are triggered, it is very hard to control them. So we purchase out of impulse and not out of our rational decision process.
So these impulses, or they're touching our emotion, because pricing is emotional. Like, okay, you see 50% discount, it triggers a purchase.
Of course.
What nerve it touches, right? We can touch few nerves, like few aspects of our behavior, right?
Actually, there is an answer because people actually took consumers to an fMRI machine and scanned their brain while they were watching different products. Some were with discount tag and some were without. And they found out that if you see something that you don't need, and I emphasize, something that you clearly don't need, but it has the sign of a discount, there is a place in your brain that we call the value area, where you place value on different products, and as a magic, the value of this product increases just because it was on sale or on a discount. So this is a very sophisticated unconscious process of our brain, that we attach value to things even if you don't need them, just because they were on sale.
Yeah.
And there was another research, very interesting. Again, they took people to an fMRI machine, and they were looking for people who like chocolate. So it wasn't very hard to find some people who liked chocolate, but then they were looking for a chocolate that will be a consensus. So they came up with Godiva chocolate. So most people like Godiva. It's not like Hershey or something. and then they showed them. They were exposed to this chocolate for 4 seconds, and they wanted to see what's going on in the brain. And they saw that the reward pathway was activated while they were seeing the chocolate. And then for another 4 seconds, they showed them the price. And it was, of course, unproportional because Godiva is highly expensive. And then they saw that they look at the brain and they saw that the pain area was activated.
Wow.
And this was like an actual pain area where your stomach hurt or where you're injured. This was the same area that was activated. And then they figure out that our brain does this amazing calculation. So if the pain area was higher in activation, then you are not going to purchase. But if the reward area is more activated compared to the pain area, then you are going to purchase. So this is a very simple calculation. And whenever I conduct a workshop to salespeople, I tell them don't ever talk with people about price, because then they will come to think rationally, and they will the answer, if we are talking about the answer as with cola and Pepsi, the answer that they will ask themselves, is it worth it? However, if you are not going to mention price and you will connect them with in the emotional level, the question that they will ask is, do I like it? These are two different questions.
Yeah.
And if they are going to ask, is it worth it? They are going to compare you to other products in the category. But if you are able to trigger emotions, then they will not compare you to anything. They will ask, how much do I like it? And this is a very important distinction for salespeople. And actually, I think this is the most precious invention from a technology standpoint, because when we ask people, we give them $200 to give or to use their credit card to pay $200, and we look at the pain level, we see that we are talking about 4 or 5 times more pain in when you actually hold the money. And when you compare between credit card and Amazon one-click purchase, Amazon one-click purchase doesn't hurt at all. This is amazing. There is no pain. So we need to come to think about the implications.
Yes. So we take decision irrationally and we are triggered by emotions. So you mentioned the value gap, for example, in a matter of pricing, but give us more example. Like it's like we need, as a human, right? We need the social connection, right? We need like self-fulfillment. What are some of those emotion or like basic fundamentals that are important for marketeers to be aware of?
So these are not emotions; these are motivations or needs, if you will.
Yeah.
When we're talking about emotion, we are talking about how we categorize our feelings. So if I'm frustrated now, if I'm mad. So of course, these are Ekman 5 types of emotion. There are different theories, but emotion is how we feel. Motivation, and this is a very important topic, because when I conduct research for different companies, this is what I wanted to find out. So let's say that I actually conducted a research for a gaming company, a very big gaming company. And I compare between bingo and solitaire. And I guess most people are familiar with these games. And what I found out is that bingo, you are looking for pure escapism, because you don't need to mentally think. There are no cognitive resources. So it's really the excitement, because you are more passive. But when we are talking about solitaire, people felt that they are more active in the game. They have more control. They actually were talking with us about different strategies that they apply when they are playing this game. So we are talking about different motivation of recognition, to feel good, to feel in control, or motivation of escapism. I don't like the reality, or I need an escape from the reality, so I will play bingo. So these are just only two examples, but I will give you other examples. So I conducted the research for a startup. It was a new startup, and they came up with this new dispenser that will help you with dishes and with spices in the kitchen. And they wanted to know how to market it. So they had an idea that the best thing to market this dispenser is for people who cook a lot. And I told them, okay, so before you are going with you are going to launch your marketing strategy, wait and let me do this research and let me talk to people. So today I have a startup, and I'm a co-founder. And this startup actually is developed a bot, a virtual agent or a virtual assistant that actually chats with people with video or with text, or they can record themselves. But the idea that this bot has an emotional intelligence. So instead of me interviewing people, because there is a limit of how many people I can interview, this bot can talk to hundreds of people, but this bot can handle this deep conversation. So it's not only, okay, what is the best thing in the product, innovation or technology or whatever. The bot can actually talk to people. And the surprising thing is that people answer and they share their feeling and emotion and perceptions. So going back to this research, we use this bot in order to talk to people who like to bake and who like to cook. And what we found out is that the people who are willing to spend a lot of money on this dispenser are not the people who cook the most, because the people who cook the most were the moms who were cooking for the children, and they had no interest in purchasing this expensive dispenser. However, it was about the motivation. The motivation of the mom was to show love and safety for her children. But the motivation of people who likes to cook from time to time was recognition. They wanted to show people to host these dinners and show their friends how good cook they are. So this was one motivation. And the second motivation was playfulness, because people felt like children. So they didn't want to use recipe. What they want is to start baking or cooking their own dishes. And they actually really appreciated this time of playfulness. So we found out that unlike the mothers who cook every day, and this is the actual audience that they wanted to market to, we found that they need to market to the people who felt escapism or playfulness and the people who wanted recognition.
Yeah, interesting. I want to go back to this empathy gap that you mentioned previously, and people are actually not telling exactly why they took a decision, right? And so consumer research, I think, is, and you've mentioned a few of the research that you did. I think it's a very area that is very, very difficult to implement correctly, and maybe really understand consumer sentiment about a specific brand. So how do you run these researches? What are some of the tips that you can provide to professionally manage and run a successful research project?
So if there is number one tip, and they can forget all this conversation, they should only remember this: never ask people direct questions. So I mean, there are many people who came to me, they wanted to launch a new product or new startup, and they asked people, okay, if this product was in the market, would you buy it? And of course people say yes. What do they care? Yeah. So they need to actually view the behavior. So for example, I never ask people, okay, what do you like or what you don't like? What do you like about? if I want to, for example, recently I conducted research of people going to a mall. So I asked them, okay, so please remember the last time you were at the mall. How did you feel? Who did you go with? So these are different people that actually talks about behavior. So we keep finding this gap between what people say and what they really feel. So I will give you another interesting example. We did a research comparing between Snickers and Milky Way. These are both chocolate snakes. And you, from like first sight, you can think, okay, these are exactly the same, right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, what's the difference? So here you have more peanuts, here you have more milk, but basically, or nougat, but they are the same. So no, they're not the same. They're not the same because they address different consumer needs. So we found that when you talk about Snickers is something, a snake that you eat if you happen to skip lunch and you need energy boost like Red Bull or Excel or different energy drinks. So this will help you keep going in your day. So you eat it on the go, on the way, and it's like lunch.
Mhm.
However, Milky Way you eat after an emotional experience, usually negative emotional experience. So you eat it alone and you eat it as a compensation.
Mhm.
And you eat it when you feel sad and you need comfort. It's like an ice cream, like Ben and Jerry's, or a glass of red wine. So if and this is my second tip, if people will go to the functional features, it's not going to lead them anywhere. They really need to come up with the emotional features, because what I found out is that people purchase because of their motivations, because of their emotion, because of how you make them feel. So if you don't know this information that I just provided, so maybe you will add more peanuts with your new, if you want to launch a new chocolate snake.
Mhm.
But if you truly understand, you will go and you will find out what needs this chocolate snake address, and then you will know how to compete on what really matters, or not on this feature or that feature.
Yeah. And that questioning, as you said, can't be like a direct question, right? It needs to be more.
Of course, people they don't
Yeah.
know this. They only told me because I asked them, okay, when in the last is the last time you
Okay.
ate Milky Way, and how did you feel, and what was going on in your life? So I have to build this reality for them, because they have this defense mechanism. We all have this defense mechanism.
Mhm.
This is amazing mechanism that we have, because if we knew our sensitivity, it will be very difficult to cope with life. So
Yeah.
it's amazing that we have them, but we
Mhm.
have psychologists to understand what's really going on.
Yes. And how do you balance? I mean, for the brand or for any business, it's important to explain in details what's unique in the product, what the product is doing. How do you balance in terms of messaging, right? Because you go to a lot of website and it's immediately like the feature set, right? They're just dumping all their features.
Yeah.
There's nothing about, values and rewards and all these things that we talked about. How do you balance this two things?
So, yeah, I really think that people have today like trends, like not people, businesses have
Hmm.
these trends, and these are awful trends, because I mean they have a mission statement and what they believe in, and they have set of values, and for all the businesses they are the same. So they are innovation, and they are based on AI or in technology, and they have quality. So there is no different. And in order to stick, you really need to understand your narrative, what you believe in, because people will go with your brand not because it's better. It is because they believe in what you believe in. So take Harley Davidson, for example. They believe in freedom in the road. So it's not about this motorcycle. It's about they believe in what you believe in, and people are looking for brands that they can empathize with, that they can say, yeah, they speak my words. So they don't speak their words if they say, yeah, I have a qualitative brand or I'm a
Yeah.
technological brand. No, this is nonsense. You really need to understand who you are. This is the first thing. And the second thing is that the brands need to establish trust, and brands need to give more before they want to take. Because, I mean, I keep saying it to the businesses I work with when they show me their marketing strategy or their campaign or messaging. It's like you are in a party, and then I come and I stand on the table and I say to everyone's in the party, attention, please. Look at me. I'm the most attractive person in this room. Come with me. And they will look at me. They will be a bit amusing and they will keep talking
Yeah,
and
no one
ignore
cares.
me. And this is what brands does when they don't establish trust, when they just scream, pick me, pick me. No, this is not the right way to go. They need to understand their value and their emotion, and then they need to build trust through narratives.
Wow, interesting. And Liraz, how all of this is connected to storytelling? Because I think there are a lot of myths, right, in storytelling that needs to be addressed.
Right, right. So the idea about storytelling, a good storytelling, is that if you provide me a few facts about your startup, or if you tell me a great story of what made you start your company, the facts are that I will remember more. I will remember mostly everything you said from the story, and I will forget 80% of the facts. And the reason is how our brain is built, because our brain from evolutionary times is built to hear story. This is how we use to transfer information. However, our brain is not built to hear facts or to remember facts. And when I tell a story, but a good story, engaging story, if I tell a story and you look at our brains, you'll see what we call neurocoupling. Our brains are going to synchronize, and the more I tell the story and the more engaged you are, the more synchronized our brain will be. And this is the basis of connection between people. And this is also the basis of connection between brands and consumers. So they need to come up with a good story. So, of course, there are different ways to tell a story. But when you tell a good story, it's like you are in love, because the same chemicals, the same brain chemicals that we see when people are in love, we see them when they hear a good story, a surprising
Wow.
story that tells them something about themselves, something that they feel, that they connect to, that they say, yes, I want to be part of this story. And if the brain only sells product, so people will live in the moment they will have a better one.
Yes, there's always a better one, right? And
Right.
so the story of a brand is a story of the founder?
No,
It?
not
Not
necessarily.
necessarily. Okay.
It can be, when we're talking about a really good story, it can be how this brain is processed. Let me give you an example. There was a beer named Schultz. I'm not sure if it still exists, but
I'm not sure. Okay.
it was an American beer. And they have a problem in the market because most beer were the same, so they didn't have a great selling point. And then they took this expert named Cloud Hopkins, and he told them that he wanted to come and have a tour in their factory. And he saw how they actually produce and manufacture the beer, and he saw that they boil out the water in special tanks. So he told them, "This is amazing. I want to tell this story." And they told him, "No, there is nothing to tell because all the beers are made the same." And he said, "Yeah, I don't care. I don't care because when we say this is how we do it, this implies that other brands don't do it the same way." And they are the first in the market. So this is a good story. A story that tells something about the way you do things, about your legacy, about your history. It doesn't matter. You just need to connect people.
Yeah. And connect is probably try to tell your own special story, maybe to be different, which is much smarter than to say I'm better than the other one, right?
Of course. Yeah. It's actually a good story doesn't spell out what they want. You understand it unconsciously.
Yes. Great, Liraz. So what are you working on these days?
Actually, I'm quite busy. I have this many research that I conduct, and I'm writing a new book. And
Nice.
yes, so, and also I have this master class and of people's skills and how to negotiate, how to tell a good story, how to make decision, intuition. So actually a lot of my plate right now, but just need to be thankful for that.
Yes. So, and how our listeners can follow you and keep updated with your work?
So I have a website, and I quite often post on LinkedIn. However, it's in Hebrew, but there is a great translation. And I have also my podcast that I think regularly, once in 2 weeks. I record a podcast and mainly my website.
Great, Liraz. It was a pleasure. Anything else you want to add?
No, I really enjoyed our talk.
Yes. Thank you so much, Liraz. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode. Your support means the world to us. If today's episode has been insightful for you, consider sharing it with someone who would also benefit. Even one share can make a big difference. Looking to elevate your e-commerce game? Discover Vimy, a multi-channel e-commerce platform that will transform your business with the power of shoppable video. Visit us at vimy.net to learn more. It's Vimy, VIMMI.net. Thank you for being part of our journey. Stay tuned for more invaluable insights in our next episode.